What if everything you're doing to become more spiritual is actually the ego's greatest trick? Before you scroll past this, understand, recognizing this deception might be the only thing standing between you and genuine freedom. Most people believe that as we grow spiritually, the ego simply dissolves and fades away. But a great sage once warned of something far more subtle and deceptive, something that every seeker eventually encounters, yet few recognize in time. If you've ever felt stuck on your spiritual path, despite doing all the right things, stay with me. What I'm about to share might completely shift how you see your entire journey. And if this resonates, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because this truth is too important to keep hidden. Here's what the sage taught. The ego does not leave the stage easily. Instead, it simply changes its costume. At the beginning of the spiritual path, the ego is obvious. It's loud, transparent, and unmistakable, constantly seeking pleasure, recognition, control, and security. It's the version of ourselves we all recognize, the one driven by worldly ambition and personal gain. We can see it clearly and honestly. That clarity makes it easier to work with. But then something strange happens. As you begin practicing meditation or self-inquiry, those rough edges of your personality start to soften. You feel yourself changing, you become calmer, more aware, perhaps even more compassionate. And here's where the real danger begins. Because the ego doesn't disappear. It simply undergoes a masterclass in camouflage. The ego shifts its focus from the material to the mystical. Instead of saying, "I want success," it whispers, "I want liberation." Instead of chasing power or status, it starts chasing silence, peak experiences, and spiritual states. Instead of comparing bank accounts or professional achievements, it begins to compare levels of awakening, depth of meditation, or spiritual understanding. I meditate for 2 hours daily. I've had deeper insights than most. I'm further along the path than I was last year. Do you hear it? The same voice, the same game, just wearing robes instead of a suit. This ancient wisdom describes this as the ego pretending to be the seeker. And this is the ego's last and most dangerous trick. Because at this stage, the ego no longer feels like the obstacle. It feels like the one doing the sacred work. The seeker begins to think, I am progressing. I am closer than others. I have understood something deeply. There's a subtle pride in how spiritual you've become, how far you've come, how much you've transcended. But the teaching is uncompromising on this point. As long as there is someone who claims progress, the ego is still very much present. True spiritual maturity doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need validation, recognition, or a badge of honor. In fact, the closer you come to the truth, the quieter everything becomes. There's no excitement, no spiritual pride, no sense of personal achievement. There's only a radical, profound simplicity, so ordinary that the ego finds it utterly uninteresting. Here's the key. The ego survives through movement. It lives on the constant effort to become something better, more awakened, more enlightened. It feeds on the journey, the progress, the story of improvement. But true self-inquiry isn't about becoming something else. It's about seeing what is already false. We're not asked to fight the ego, because fighting it only gives it more energy, more importance, more reality. We're simply asked to look directly at the one who claims to be spiritual, to investigate closely. Who is this I who meditates? Who is this I who wants enlightenment? Who is this I who feels stuck or advanced or on the verge of breakthrough? If you truly search for that solid entity, really look for it, you will not find it. You'll only find thoughts appearing and disappearing like clouds in a vast, unchanging sky. sensations arising and passing, stories coming and going. When this is seen clearly, not intellectually but directly, the ego has nowhere left to hide. No costume fits anymore, no role works. This is why it's said that self-inquiry is not a technique to achieve something, it's an exposure. The ego cannot survive being truly seen for what it is, empty, insubstantial, a phantom claiming to be real. Now, if you're feeling confused, frustrated, or even disappointed hearing this, if something in you is resisting or feeling deflated, pay attention. That feeling isn't a failure. It's actually a sign that this final disguise is being challenged. That sense of discomfort, it's the sound of a false structure beginning to crack. Here's the ultimate paradox. Silence is not a trophy to be achieved by a spiritual you. It's what naturally remains when the noise of false effort finally drops away. So let that realization be enough. Stop trying so hard to find the truth. Instead, simply stop clinging to what is clearly not true. Stop feeding the stories. Stop measuring progress. Stop comparing your inner world to anyone else's. And in that stopping, something reveals itself, not as an experience to be gained, but as what was always here before you started seeking. If this message hit home, don't just let it pass by. Share this video with someone on a spiritual path who might be caught in the same subtle trap. Comment below with your own experience of recognizing the spiritual ego. Your insight might be exactly what another seeker needs to hear. And subscribe so you don't miss the next truth that needs to be spoken. Because the path isn't about collecting spiritual experiences, it's about seeing through every last illusion, including the one wearing the seeker's mask. The question isn't whether you'll awaken, the question is, are you ready to stop pretending you're the one who needs to?